This is the latest generation carbon fibre gravel bike from Giant Bicycles. And compared to the old bike which it replaces, it has a lightweight frame set, bigger tyre clearance, and for the first time, adjustable geometry. Now, when the Revolt first arrived in 2013, gravel was but an inkling in the eye of the bike industry. But fast forward quite a few years, and as you know, gravel adventure bikepacking is hugely popular. And the Revolt in those years has been a very popular choice. Giant, as you know, are great for value for money, and their engineering and design is first class. And the old bike, which you might have seen my review on, link above in case you missed it, was a fantastic bike. So improving on a bike that was already very good was no easy task. But let me tell you, after riding this bike for the last couple of weeks, oh boy, have Giant managed it. I know what you're thinking, this new bike looks the same as the old bike. What have they changed? Well, quite a lot, and you have to look quite closely to see the changes. They kept the same fundamental frame design as the old bike, which is no bad thing, a good looking bike and a bike that performed well, and given it a nip and a tuck, massage it here and there to save weight, increase tyre clearance, and give adjustable geometry for the first time to the Revolt line. So if you look more closely at the frame set, you can see how they manipulated the carbon fibre tube profiles and the shapes, especially around the head tube. There's a lot more going on around there. The rear stays, which are dropped, are much skinnier than before, just a more shapely frame, and the result of all the changes, a nip and tuck here and there, is a frame and fork on this Advanced Pro top level model that is a whopping 200 grams lighter than the old model. And a result of that frame weight saving, along with these full carbon sub 1400 gram wheels, a Shimano GRX Di2 2x group set, and a carbon handlebar and stem, means that this size ML without pedals is just over 8 kilograms, and it's a weight that's as light or lighter than some road bikes I reviewed on the channel previously. So a gravel bike with big tyres and big tyre clearance and all the mounts for water bottles and racks that weighs just over 8 kilograms. Very, very impressive. And that low weight is something you notice straight away, whether pulling out the box when it first arrived for testing or pulling out the back of the car for filming today. And then on the road or trail as we are here, the weight gives the bike an immediate sense of urgency. It gets up to speed so quickly and maintains that high speed really easily. And these fast rolling Maxxis tyres definitely help with the impression of speed as well. And they're a great option for road riding and for dry, smooth gravel like this. But if you're riding in muddier, slipperier trails, you might want to fit something a bit more chunky. But that's the same with all gravel bikes. You need to fit the right tyre to suit your terrain and conditions you're riding on. But would it be nice if Giant had fitted something a bit chunkier, a bit more treaded, and for a bit more off-road riding? And on the road, that low weight, the fast rolling tyres and the stiff frame, plus the wide range of a 2x GRX Di2 group set, gives you a bike that's nearly as damn it fast as a road bike. Unless you're riding in a fast club run or a chain gang, this bike is probably as quick as many people need a road bike to be. You can easily chuck it along the road at 30k an hour. Doesn't feel slow, doesn't feel sluggish, and when you come to a climb, that low weight definitely helps you out. So unless you really want the fastest, absolute most aero performance road race bike, I can't see why you wouldn't choose this over another road bike. But the fun really begins when you get off-road, because all that low weight and stiff frame and the wide tyre clearance really comes to the fore when you get off-road on the dirt, gravel and mud. When it comes to geometry, there's really no right or wrong when it comes to gravel bikes, and many different interpretations based on riding style, terrain, and what the designer of the bike is trying to achieve. From ultra laid back mountain bike influenced bikes like the BMC Unrestricted at one end, to more cyclocross road bike models at the other end, and everything in between. The previous Revolt had very good geometry, and Giant has made a few tweaks here and there to improve it, and also for the very first time giving us adjustable geometry with removable flip chips in the rear dropouts. We have seen adjustable geometry on gravel bikes before, although it's not super common, not like it is in the mountain bike world, with the Cervelo Espero and the GT grade spring to mind. But those were both fork-based designs and were centered around the idea of maintaining the same fork trail when you swap between a 700C and a 650B wheelset. But what Giant is offering is adjustable wheelbase length. So in a short setting, when they're in a forward position, you have a shorter wheelbase for a more nimble, agile handling. Then if you're more laid back, more stable setup, you move them into the rearward position and that just calms it down. But that's not all though. Giant has also increased the reach of the frame, which is in line with the way modern gravel bikes are going, longer and slacker, borrowing heavily from mountain bike geometry. And they've also lowered the bottom bracket, so it's now 80mm below the wheel axles, so it puts you more inside the bike and gives you more stable, planted handling. But then they've steepened the head angle by a degree compared to the old bike to give quicker, more agile handling. But to counter that, you have the adjustable wheelbase length, so giving you 10mm of adjustment for longer or shorter. The other important impact of those flip chips and the dropouts are the tyre clearance. In a short setting, you can fit up to a 42mm wide tyre, and in the long setting, you go up to a 53mm wide tyre. So big, generous tyre clearance on this bike. The new geometry definitely makes this a bike that's fast and accurate, and it's a lot more entertaining and lively than the old Revolt. Now, many gravel bikes are going down a longer, slacker, mountain bike inspired route, which is great for off-road capability, but it can be too docile and too laid back for some people, for some riding styles and terrain. This new Revolt is anything but docile. It's darty on my local twisting single track trails, just so much fun. Even on the road, it's a lively and engaging bike, but moves those flip chips and the rear dropout to a longer setting, and it's a lot more sedate, more laid back, and some of that agility traded for stability and a more planted feel at high speed. I love the fact you can tune this bike to suit your riding requirements, riding style, where you're going racing, road riding, or bike packing. Talking of bike packing, this bike is covered in mounts for everything you might need on a long adventure ride. You can fit up to 6 water bottles, great if you get 30 on those long rides. You've got top tube mounts, fork mounts for racks and luggage, and you've even got mudguard mounts as well. Hello, winter road bike. Some other details worth pointing out. Compared to Giant's road bikes, which have the Overdrive 2 stereo tube, so a 1¼ inch stereo tube, this has a more regular conventional 1⅛ inch stereo tube diameter at the top, so you can fit a normal stem. So great if you want to fit a suspension stem, say, for more comfort. And the reason for downsizing the stereo tube, according to Giant, is for more compliance that it offers over the beefier stereo tube you get on like the TCR, for example. So that's great. Normal stem, normal handlebar, got nice sensible external cable routing, really neat little ports on the front of the head tube there and into the fork. I know internal cable routing is popular with some bike brands, but the simplicity of external routing isn't to be overlooked really. So we have that at the front. And if you don't like the seat post, or you want to fit a suspension seat post or a dropper seat post, you can, because you can remove the seat post and fit a round 30.9mm seat post. So you're not tied into this bespoke seat post on a bike, and that's a great thing if you want to fit a normal seat post. Of course, it's disc brakes only, flat mount calipers, internal hose routing, 12mm through axles, and Giant's own nifty carbon through axle lever there, which you can remove and put back in. I really like that, nice detail that, Giant. Comfort has to be a big factor for why gravel bikes are so popular. Of course, you have big tyres, which give you more cushioning over skinny rubber on a road or gravel. And some bike brands are trying to offer even more comfort with suspension forks, suspension stems, seat posts, and other complex designs. But Giant avoids all those sort of things and goes for a frame design to give as much compliance as possible, from the shape of the skinny rear stays, the way they're dropped, which gives you more seat post flex, and the shape of the top tube. That all helps give compliance at the back end. And then their ace up their sleeve is a D-Fuse technology. First introduced in 2014 on a cross bike and then a Defy endurance bike. It's D-shaped seat posts and carbon handlebars that are designed to give more flex than normal round handlebars and stems. So the carbon fibre seat post, which is very sculptured as you can see, gives up to 12mm of rearward flex, so great for seated comfort. And up front, this handlebar gives a claimed 10% more compliance downward flex than a regular round handlebar. So more comfort all round, on road and off road. Does the D-Fuse actually work then, or is it a gimmick? Oh boy, yes it does work. On a bumpy track like this, you can really feel how much the handlebar and seat post dampen all the impacts that would normally come through contact points, your hands, your bum, and lead to a jarring, jittery and uncomfortable ride. The bike is definitely smoother as a result of the D-Fuse. You can actually feel and see the seat post flexing back and forth when you hit a big impact or a hole in the track or road. So quite remarkable how well it works. Is it as good as a suspension seat post? No, but it's better than a normal round seat post and smoother than some other gravel bikes I've ridden. Up front, the carbon handlebar is noticeably smoother than the alloy handlebar I had on the Revolt I reviewed last year, so that's a big improvement. And again, is it as smooth as that RockShox Rudy suspension fork or a Specialized Diverge? Well, no, but it's a lot simpler, it's a lot lighter, less complexity and less cost. I know that would definitely appeal. So taken together, the D-Fuse handlebar, the seat post, the big tyres and the carbon fibre frame and fork really does give a pleasantly smooth ride on gravel, single track and rough roads. And I think for many people it's more than enough smoothness without going down the complex route of actual suspension, retaining that simplicity and purity of a gravel bike without getting into the mountain bike territory that some are. The new Revolt comes in two main flavours, Advanced and Advanced Pro, which we have here. They get the same frame, so all the same improvements, the same geometry and other details, but the fork is the main difference. This Advanced Pro having a lighter weight, full carbon constructed fork. And being Giant, there's a wide range of models available, and I'll put a link to their website down below so you can check out the websites for all details on all the models available. But the one we have here is a very top end Shimano GRX Di2 2x setup with these very spangly sub 1400 gram CXR carbon fibre wheels with Giant's own design. So very wide profile, they're tubeless ready and hookless, and they come with these very fast rolling tyres, which are a good option for gravel like we have here, but might want to fit something a bit chunkier for muddy British trails at this time of year. All bikes get the same D-Fuse technology, but a switch from carbon fibre handlebars to alloy at the lower end, but all get the same carbon seat post, which is a nice detail. And most of the range is based around 2x group sets, but there is a single 1x option as well. A nice detail on the bikes is that they're all tubeless ready. By that I mean the wheels come fitted with tape and valves, and all the dealer, the bike shop has to do when they sell the bike to a customer is put in their sealant supplied by Giant, and the customer goes away with a bike that has the tyres and wheels set up tubeless. And that is a great thing to hear, and I wish more bike brands would do the same, because it makes it easier for the customer buying a gravel bike that's already tubeless ready. So the performance of the new Revolt is deeply impressive. And it is impressive how they've improved on the old bike, which, as I said before, was a really good benchmark in the gravel bike market. While this isn't the most radical update, although the geometry definitely is, it's a nice refinement. I appreciate the lower weight, the bigger tyre clearance, and the comfort of this bike, and that adjustable geometry is definitely something I think really benefits the bike. But it remains to be seen how people, buy the bike and embrace or not the adjustable geometry. Whether it's something you change on a regular basis, depending on your riding, whether racing or bikepacking or commuting, or whether it's something you set and forget once you've fiddled around with different settings and ridden it to see how it compares. But this bike offers a high quality ride and performance, both on-road and off-road. On the road, it's a super fast and super fun bike. Give me this bike over a race bike with 25mm wide tyres on a fast, twisting, challenging descent any day. And that high quality ride translates off-road too. On fast gravel, blimey, it doesn't hang around. And on more mountain bike style riding that I do with gravel bikes, with lots of steep climbs and roots and rocks, it's more than capable. Yes, there's no suspension to speak of, and the geometry isn't as progressive as some perhaps, but it just works. And I think that's the thing about the Revolt. It's just a gravel bike that does what you want and expect of a gravel bike. No gimmicks, just a really sorted, well thought out, nicely considered gravel bike that is easy to recommend, really. This is what gravel bikes are all about. On one side, a nice, smooth, relatively speaking, tarmac road, and over here, a nice gravel track. One has lots of traffic, well, not right now, and one has very little traffic, more dog walkers and pheasants. Which will you choose? Let me know down below. And the beauty of bikes like this Revolt is you can do both. You can do the road and then the gravel, then back onto road and gravel, road, gravel, road, gravel. You can do as much in whatever ratio you want. And this bike in the current setup with these slick tyres works really well on both. And it's not much slower on the gravel compared to the road. And it's not much slower on the road compared to my TCR road bike, which is very impressive. Which makes you wonder, what is the future for road bikes? Unless you're racing with all that speed, when gravel bikes like this are as capable, as fast, and as versatile as they are these really the future of the modern drop bar road bike? I love gravel and adventure bikes for their sheer versatility, adaptability, and capability. But more than anything, it's just how much fun they are to ride. On everything from gravel, woodland trails, and road. They can really do it all. And this bike can definitely do it all. Now the gravel and adventure bike market is really competitive right now. And if you're watching this video wondering what bike to buy, you are spoiled for choice. So is this new Revolt the best gravel bike on the market right now? Well, there's lots of choice, as I said. At one end, you have aero speed machines like the 3T Exploro Race Max or the Cervelo Espero. At the other end, super capable off-road mountain bike influenced bikes like the BMC Unrestricted, the Open Wide, the Specialized Diverge, and many other examples. But while the Revolt doesn't have the aero or the suspension or some of those other bikes, it does have a very well designed frame that delivers good compliance thanks to that seat post and handlebar, big tyre clearance, all the mounts you need for up to 6 water bottles and everything else you might want to carry on a multi-day bike packing adventure. And it really is a deeply impressive bike. And in that way, it's an easy bike to recommend. And of course, the value for money with Giant is always strong. And while this is a fairly indulgent model with the Shimano GRX Di2 group set and super lightweight carbon wheels, there is a bigger range available and you get essentially the same frame, lower down a range, but with more modest components. So if your budget can't stretch this bike, there probably is a model for you in the range, and check out their website for more details on all the actual models. I won't go into detail here. So there we go, my review on the brand new Giant Revolt. Let me know your thoughts and any questions you might have by leaving a comment down below. And if you want to see 10 of the best gravel bikes available right now, then check on this video up here, and don't forget to subscribe by hitting that button down there. Right, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again next time.